ET226. Which of the following is an appropriate explanation in accordance with the definition of open source software provided by OSI? A. When the open source software is modified, such as for in-house use but not for redistribution, the modified source code need not be released to the public. B. When open source software is created for a particular industry, the source code can be released only within that industry. C. When the open source software is modified and redistributed, the same license must be applied so that the distribution conditions are the same as the original software. And finally, D. When open source software is redistributed as a product by a third party, the developer of the open source software can ask the third party for a licensing fee. OSI, or Open Source Initiative, is a non-profit organization that promotes open source. Open source is a software license that enables free browsing of the source code as well as change and distribution of the content while protecting the copyright of the software. Software based on this license is called open source software, or OSS. According to the definition of open source software by OSI, 10 criteria must be fulfilled as conditions for distributing a program. Based on this, when the modified software is redistributed, the source code must be released to the public. However, for private or in-house use and modification of the source code does not need to be released to the public. Therefore, A is the correct answer for this question. So here are the other options, and let's look at why they aren't the correct answer to what OSI describes as an open source program. So B, the use of a program cannot be restricted to only a specific field. C, when the open source software is modified and redistributed, its distribution under the same license as the original software must be allowed. However, this does not imply that the modified open source software must be distributed under the same license. Therefore, C does hold, but it's not completely true, as it doesn't have to be distributed under the same license. Finally, in D, the software developer cannot restrict the sale or free distribution of an open source software by a third party, and therefore cannot ask for royalties or other remunerations concerning sales. Here we can see that our answer is A, and what we've looked at in this video is open source software and some of the things that define what open source software is and what developers can and cannot do.